In 1891, a sailor named James Bartley is swallowed alive by a sperm whale. When his crew cuts the whale open hours later, he is still inside it, still breathing, his skin bleached white from acid, his eyes permanently damaged, but alive. And when people ask him what it felt like inside, he says only three things: warm, dark, and the walls were moving. That one sentence has kept me awake for 3 nights, because what those walls were actually doing to his body, minute by minute, is so specific and so documented that I genuinely did not want to finish researching it, but I did, and now you have to know too. What actually happens if a sperm whale swallows you? Not the Pinocchio version, not the cartoon where you float around in a cozy air pocket eating fish and waiting for rescue. The real, biological, minute by minute version. From the moment that jaw closes around you to whatever comes after that. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. The sperm whale is not built like any other animal on Earth. Its insides are not what you picture when you picture inside a whale. And the answer to what happens to you in there is so specific, so layered, and so deeply unpleasant that by the end of this, you will never look at the ocean the same way again. So, minute 1, what actually happens? Start with what you probably assume. You get swallowed. You are in a big, warm, dark stomach. Maybe there is some air. Maybe you can tread whatever is in there and wait it out. That is not how this works. Not even slightly. The sperm whale's mouth is 18 feet long. 18 feet. That is a full-size SUV, bumper to bumper, and it is just the mouth, just the entry point. The moment that jaw closes around you, you are not falling gently into anything. You're being funneled into a muscular throat. And here is where the first real problem arrives. The sperm whale's throat at its narrowest point is only about 10 to 12 inches wide. They are built to eat giant squid, things that are boneless, flexible, compressible. You have a rib cage, rigid, calcified, structurally committed to being exactly the wrong shape for this situation. So minute 1, you are still in the mouth, and the mouth has teeth, only on the lower jaw. The upper jaw has sockets but no teeth, but the lower jaw carries 52 conical teeth, each one roughly 8 inches long, each one designed not to chew but to grip. Sperm whales do not chew their food. They never have. They grip and they swallow whole. The sensation around you is not a bite, it is a clamp, pressure arriving from every direction at once. The kind your brain initially processes as heat before it catches up and realizes heat is not the right word at all. In 1891, the whaling vessel Star of the East is hunting in the South Atlantic when James Bartley falls overboard during a chase. The whale is harpooned and killed. When the crew hauls the carcass on deck and begins cutting it open to harvest the oil, they find something inside the stomach cavity that is moving. It is Bartley. Unconscious, his skin permanently bleached white by gastric acid, his eyes clouded but breathing. He recovers over the following weeks and lives another 17 years. When he describes the inside of the whale, he says 3 things: darkness, heat, and a slipping, yielding surface in every direction, like being held inside something that is breathing around you. Scientists dispute this story heavily. The anatomy makes it genuinely difficult to accept at face value. But here is the part nobody argues with. Sperm whales are regularly found with enormous intact objects inside their stomachs. Whole giant squid, sharks, rocks, pieces of fishing nets the size of cars. The stomach of a sperm whale is not a polite place. Minute 2. Assuming you survive the throat, you arrive in the forest, omic. Sperm whales have 4 stomach chambers and the first one does not produce digestive acid. It is mechanical, a muscular holding chamber that contracts rhythmically, squeezing inward with a force your body has absolutely no reference point for. You are not being dissolved yet, you are being compressed. The walls are warm, warmer than the surrounding ocean, and they pulse around you in the dark with a slow, relentless certainty. It is the loneliest place a human being can possibly be. The sound down here is not silence. It is the whale. Its heartbeat surrounds you completely. You are inside a living thing that does not know you are there. By minute 3, the oxygen problem becomes the only problem that matters. Whatever air your lungs hold at the moment of swallowing is all you get. There is no refill. A human at rest burns through roughly 0.3 liters of oxygen per minute. You are not at rest. You are panicking inside a living organism while that organism descends into the ocean at speed, which means your body is burning through oxygen at 2 to 4 times the resting rate. Your thoughts are already beginning to lose their edges. The dark here is not just visual, it is total. Not a single photon, No up, no down, no reference to anything that exists outside this stomach. Just heat, pressure, and the rhythmic certainty of something much older than you doing exactly what it has always done. Here is the part that genuinely deserves a moment of dark humor. The whale has absolutely no idea you are not a giant squid. No malice, no curiosity, no awareness that today's meal is unusual in any meaningful way. You are a warm, dense object that appeared in the water during a hunt, and the whale's 60-million-year-old brain has categorized you and moved on. The whale is, at this very moment, completely unbothered. It is still hunting. It is going deeper. In 2021, a lobster diver named Michael Packard is working off the coast of Provincetown, Massachusetts, when a humpback whale takes him into its mouth during a feeding run. Not a sperm whale, a humpback, a filter feeder with a much wider throat. He is inside the whale's mouth for roughly 30 seconds before the animal surfaces and expels him. He describes the experience as sudden total darkness, a feeling of being pushed from every direction at once, an initial certainty that a shark has him, and then the slow, horrible realization that he is inside something soft and alive and breathing. He survives. The whale spits him out because he is too solid, too dense, wrong in texture. He is not krill, he is a mistake. The sperm whale scenario is different in one critical way. Sperm whales are pursuit predators, and they go down, way down. Minute 4, the whale dives to 3,000 meters, sometimes deeper. The pressure at 3,000 meters is 300 times the atmospheric pressure you experience standing on the surface of the Earth. It is the kind of pressure that does not damage things so much as rearrange them at the molecular level. You are already inside the whale. The whale is going down. These two facts interact very badly. The cold is arriving now through the stomach walls, uneven and searching. The kind of cold that does not belong to any winter you have ever experienced. This is the cold of 3,000 meters. The cold of a place where warmth has never existed and never once considered visiting. In 1938, a research vessel working off Iceland hauls up a sperm whale and finds inside its first stomach chamber, intact, undigested, still geometrically recognizable, a shark nearly 10 feet long, a 10-foot shark, swallowed whole, showing no sign of having struggled. Scientists note that the shark was likely attracted downward by the bioluminescent glow around the sperm whale's jaw, a glow that at depth, in total darkness, looks exactly like something safe to approach. The whale does not chase. It descends into the dark, opens its mouth, and lets the dark do the work for it. The shark swims directly into its own ending without realizing what is happening until the jaw closes. That detail alone is enough to make me reconsider every instinct I trust. Minute 5. The second stomach chamber activates. The glandular stomach produces hydrochloric acid at a pH low enough to dissolve the beaks of giant squid, beaks made of chitin, one of the hardest biological materials ever produced by evolution. It dissolves them completely. You do not have a beak made of chitin. The sensation of gastric acid at this concentration is initially described by burn victims as cold, a deep penetrating cold that arrives before the pain does, before the nervous system has time to classify what is happening and file it correctly. By the time the pain arrives, the distinction no longer matters. And here is the part I cannot get out of my head no matter how many times I try. The part that genuinely unsettles me in a way that stays long after I close the research tab. The sperm whale has the largest brain of any animal that has ever existed on this planet, 5 times the size of a human brain. And it is using that brain right now to echolocate prey at 3,000 meters, to navigate without any reference point a human would recognize, and to communicate with other sperm whales in clicking, rhythmic patterns that marine biologists now believe function as a genuine language, with dialects, with cultural transmission, with information passed between generations across centuries. And none of that vast ancient intelligence registers you as anything other than a meal that is slightly the wrong shape. In 2008, a deep-sea research team lowering camera equipment 3 miles below the surface of the Pacific captures footage of a sperm whale passing the frame on its way down, not drifting, not descending slowly the way you might imagine something that weighs 60 tons moves, descending at speed, controlled, purposeful, committed. The whale is gone from frame in seconds. The team notes that whatever the whale is pursuing exists at a depth their equipment cannot follow. What lives down there in numbers sufficient to sustain a 60-ton warm-blooded predator? What is abundant enough to make 3-mile dives worthwhile on a daily basis? We do not fully know. We have the evidence only from the stomach. We have beaks of species that have never once been photographed alive. Entire species, known to exist only because a whale ate one and we found what was left. We have mapped less than 20% of the ocean floor. The sperm whale operates routinely in the 80% we have never seen. It has been doing this for 23 million years, before the Himalayas reached their current height, before most mammals alive today had evolved into anything recognizable. Whatever it has found down there across 23 million years of deep dives, whatever has adapted to live alongside it, to avoid it, or to hunt it back in that permanent darkness, we have not seen it. We have not come close to seeing it. And the most frightening thing about being swallowed by a sperm whale is not what the stomach does to your body. It is the question of what the whale is passing on its way down, at 3,000 meters in total darkness, that never makes it into any camera frame we have ever lowered into the water. The sperm whale surfaces. It always does. It breathes the air for a few minutes and then it goes back down. It has been doing exactly this. The dive, the dark, the return, for longer than our species has had language to describe anything. We study it from boats and submersibles, and we understand the broad shape of what it does and almost nothing about the specific detail of where it goes and what it finds there. That gap between what we know and what is actually happening 3 miles below you right now, that gap is almost everything. And I find that thought either deeply comforting or genuinely terrifying depending on the hour. If it does the same to you, this video is right here.